What's up, everybody? Tyler Kenyon here with California Bass and Guide Service. Just got back from Clearlake, so spent the last couple days up there. I'm going to give you guys a little lake report and a fishing report from up there. So to get started, the conditions of the lake, the water temperature in the morning, we launched out of Kaale Casino, and the water temperature in the morning was about 69 degrees every day we were up there, and then by the end of the day it was in between 74 and 75 degrees when we got off the water. The water clarity up on the north end of the lake, it was fairly brown tannic water with about 8 to 10 inches of visibility. The water down in the south end of the lake, like the Rattlesnake Arm for instance, was had quite a bit of algae on the surface, and you could see down about only 6 to 8 inches. Pretty dirty. There was a lot of pressure up on the lake this past week. I do have some of the results from the tournaments up there. So they had the New Gen TOC, which was this last weekend. That was a 3-day event. It took 82.21 pounds to win it for all 3 days, and big fish was 1045, and they actually had 2 fish over 10 weighed in that event. And then the ABA had their TOC the following weekend. It was a 2-day event, and it took 55.38 pounds to win that. And then right after the TOC, the ABA had the Bass Scout Shootout, which was only a 1-day event, which took 26.95 to win that event. So there is some big fish coming out of the lake right now, taking some pretty heavy weights to win the tournaments. And not only that, but I believe it was the New Gen TOC on the first day. I think it took 20 pounds to get you into the top half of the field. Everybody was catching them. They were catching good ones. When I was up there, there was a lot of quality fish. We caught a lot of 3.5 to 4.5 pound fish. The struggle for us up there was trying to catch the big ones. We didn't catch one over 5. Last couple days we were up there. We were around them. We've seen a couple. Had a couple big bites, blow-ups on some topwater that we know were big fish. But after all that fishing pressure, you know, there's been hundreds of boats on the water every day for the past month, just getting ready for all these TOCs. So it was fairly tough fishing out there. It was a grind. The fish we were catching were all pretty shallow. Our main baits, we were catching them flipping a jig, throwing around a 5-inch wacky rig Senko, and throwing just a beaver style or cross style bait on a flipping rig, just Texas rig. We caught most of our bigger fish up on the west end of the lake, fishing the tules and the trees. Again, just most of them came flipping that jig, flipping the jig on the outside edge of the tules, working it fairly slow, and they just pick it up and swim off with it. It was slick calm and 100 degrees when we were up there, so the reaction bite wasn't really there. We got a couple fish on the jerkbait in the morning, a couple fish on a square bill early, but other than that, it was just having to slow down. We did catch them on some docks again. It was the shallower docks and in the shade. So every fish we caught once the sun came up was in the darkest shade pocket in the whole. If you have a dock with 3 pools coming in, there's a dark shade pocket, pitch in there, and that's where most of our bites were coming. As far as the exact baits we were throwing, I was throwing the 1/2 ounce Dirty Jigs pitching jig in the go-to color, and I was throwing the Net Baits Pack a Slim on the back in Green Pumpkin, I believe Green Pumpkin Red Flake, and again working that slow. Caught a couple fish under some docks on a drop shot with a 6-inch Roboworm in Aaron's Morning Dawn, and then I caught a couple of fish on just a Lucky Craft Pointer 110 SP jerkbait in a Ghost Minnow. The couple fish we did catch on the jerkbait were solid fish. They were that 3.5 to 4 pound range. We didn't really catch too many small fish. All the fish we caught were, I'd say, over 2.5 pounds, the biggest being about 5 1/4. The fish were definitely, though, starting to get up shallow, starting to feed. There was bait fish all over the lake. A really large concentration of bait fish on the north shore of the lake and down along the west side of the lake with those big pockets, those flats with the tules and the trees in them. There was all kinds of bait fish sitting up in there. And the fish were definitely larger in those areas, more quality fish around all those bait fish. When we went down into the Rattlesnake Arm, we fished around Rattlesnake Island, fished the docks up both sides, and like I said, we caught a handful of fish down there, but the quality just wasn't there. So most of our good fish came up on those shallower flats, up in the tules. The grass up there is starting to die, and it's not looking the healthiest. So I did notice we caught most of our fish on the tules and the trees that had no grass on them. Those fish just seem to be pulling out of the grass, getting up into the bare tules, getting up into the plain trees, up on the docks with no grass on them, and just setting up on ambush points in the shade. And you're pretty much having to throw right on their head. And like I said, not a whole lot of action on there. You pitch that bait up in there, let it sit, and you just feel a small tick, see it swimming away, and you'll be able to get on them. That's all I have for that report. I'm going to be back on Lake Berryessa this week, so I'll be getting those Berryessa reports back out to you guys. And if you are looking to book a trip on Berryessa or Clearlake, I will be doing guided trips as well as half-day on-the-water lessons. So my on-the-water lessons are if you have something that you want to work on, whether it's you want to work on jig fishing, you want to work on topwater fishing, you want to work on jerkbait fishing, or you want to work on different techniques, you want to work on fishing out deep, you want to work on flipping tules, whatever it is, we can get together and do a little half-day on-the-water lesson about that as well. So I will be available Clearlake, Berryessa, and the on-the-water lessons I'm a little more flexible to coming to your home body of water. So I will link down my phone number and my email down below. You can get a hold of me there, as well as our website should be up and running by the time this video comes out, so I will put that link down below. And you can book a trip right through there. You can also get my phone call on my social medias down under there. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.